Ryan was not a soldier, not a hero, not even someone important on the great frontier station. He was a worker who fixed broken tools, cleaned the hangars, and made sure visiting crews found their equipment ready. Most people did not notice him, but that was fine with him. He liked the quiet corners of the station where he could work without being shouted at. That morning had been long and busy. A transport ship from the outer colonies had arrived, full of traders and soldiers from many worlds. They had unloaded cargo, supplies, and weapons. The repair bay where Ryan worked was filled with piles of gear. Some of it was standard human tech, but some belonged to alien visitors, shining and strange. He had learned to be careful with it. Usually he only touched what was marked for cleaning or repair. At the back of the bay he saw something that caught his eye. A set of armor leaned against the wall. It was dark silver, with strange glowing lines that pulsed like faint stars. Dust and burn marks covered it. To Ryan, it looked like another piece of equipment someone had forgotten. He bent down and touched the surface. It felt warm, almost alive, but he thought little of it. In his mind, armor was armor, and this one clearly needed care. Ryan lifted the pieces carefully and carried them to the wash unit. The unit was built for metal gear, and he had cleaned helmets, rifles, and plates in it before. He set the armor inside, added polish fluid, and started the cycle. As the machine hummed, he stepped back and smiled. He always felt good when things were left brighter than before. While he worked on other tasks, the machine finished. Ryan pulled the armor out and was amazed. The silver plates now gleamed, reflecting the lights of the bay. The glowing lines were brighter, and the armor looked alive with power. He took a cloth and polished the last spots by hand, humming to himself. He imagined a soldier walking proudly in it, shining like a hero. He did not notice the footsteps behind him until a sharp voice called out. "What have you done?" Ryan turned quickly. Standing there was a tall alien girl with silver-gray skin and golden eyes. Her hair was bound in a warrior's braid, and she wore a half-cloak of deep blue. She stared at the armor in his hands as if he held her very hard. I cleaned it," Ryan said slowly. "It was left in the corner. I thought it was abandoned." Her eyes widened. She stepped closer, her hands shaking. She reached out but did not touch the armor. Instead, she looked straight at Ryan, her voice low and heavy. "Do you know what that means?" Ryan blinked in confusion. "It means, your armor is clean." "I was just trying to help." The girl froze, her body stiff as if caught between anger and fear. For a moment the bay felt silent, even though machines buzzed around them. Other workers nearby noticed the tension but chose not to interfere. They knew alien warriors were quick to defend their honor. "You touched it? You washed it? You polished it with your own hands," she whispered. "This is not a small thing. Among my people, such an act is no mistake. It carries weight you cannot imagine." Ryan frowned. "I am sorry if I did wrong. I had no wish to offend you." The girl closed her eyes for a moment, then opened them again. Her gaze was fierce, but there was also something else, something like disbelief. "You do not understand," she said. "This armor is my life. It belongs to my clan. No outsider is meant to lay hands on it. No one outside my blood is ever allowed to clean it. For you to do this, it is a vow. It is a bond." Ryan stepped back, shocked. He held the armor carefully, unsure whether to set it down or keep holding it. "A bond," he repeated, uncertain. "Yes," she said firmly. "Among my people, when someone outside the clan washes a warrior's armor, it is seen as a declaration. It means you stand with that warrior in every battle. It means you share honor and fate. Do you know what you have done?" Ryan shook his head slowly. He had never heard of such a custom. To him, it was only cleaning metal. But the way she spoke, the way her hands trembled, told him this was something much deeper. "What is your name?" she asked suddenly. "Ryan," he said. She nodded once, as if sealing the sound of it in her mind. Remember it well, human. My name is Tailai. From this day, our paths are tied. You may not understand now, but soon you will. She took the armor from his hands with great care, almost reverence. Then she turned and walked away without another word, leaving Ryan standing alone in the repair bay, his thoughts swirling with confusion. He did not know it yet, but that small act, the simple washing of strange armor, had already changed the course of his life. Ryan could not stop thinking about what had happened in the repair bay. The image of the alien girl's golden eyes stayed in his mind. She had spoken with such certainty, as if his small action carried the weight of a whole world. He kept asking himself if she had been serious or if he had misunderstood her words. But deep inside, he knew she had not been joking. The next day, while Ryan was sorting tools, he heard the sound of armored steps behind him. He turned and saw her again. The alien girl, Tailai, stood tall in the doorway, wearing her gleaming silver armor. It looked brighter than ever, shining with the polish he had given it. Her cloak rested neatly on her shoulders, and her braid hung down her back like a line of steel. "Ryan," she said, her voice calm but firm. "You will come with me." Ryan set down the wrench in his hands. "Where?" he asked carefully. "To a place where we can speak without interruption," she answered. "You deserve to know the meaning of what you did." He hesitated, but there was no threat in her voice. Only seriousness. Slowly, he followed her out of the repair bay and down the station's quiet hallways. The crowds of traders and workers gave her space. She carried herself with authority, and even without raising her voice, people stepped aside. Ryan walked behind her, feeling the curious eyes of others on him. They reached a quiet room near the observation deck. The wide window showed the stars outside, distant and bright. Tailai stood with her hands behind her back, then turned to face him. "You asked me yesterday what it means to clean my armor," she said. "I will tell you now, though you may find it hard to believe." Ryan nodded slowly. "Please. I need to understand." She looked directly into his eyes, her golden gaze sharp and unwavering. "My people are called the Arath. We are a warrior clan culture. For us, armor is not only protection. It is family, memory, and bloodline. Each piece is handed down, cared for, and fought in. To touch it is to touch the spirit of the clan." Ryan listened carefully, trying to take in every word. "When an outsider washes that armor," she continued, "it is seen as a vow. It means that person has chosen to join their life to the warrior who wears it. They are no longer just separate beings. They are bound, in honor and in fate. It is not something done lightly. Not even by accident." Ryan frowned slightly. "But I did not know. I had no idea about your customs. I only wanted to clean what I thought was forgotten equipment." Tailai's expression softened for the first time. "I believe you. But intention is not the only thing that matters. In my people's eyes, what is done cannot be undone. The armor has been touched, the bond has been formed." Ryan rubbed the back of his neck, feeling a mix of guilt and confusion. "So what does that mean for me?" She stepped closer, her voice quieter now. "It means you are no longer just Ryan the worker. It means you are bound to me. You share my honor. You share my battles. You share my burdens. If I fall, the shame falls on you. If I rise, you rise with me. Do you understand?" Ryan shook his head slowly. "It sounds heavy. I don't know if I can carry something like that. I am not a soldier. I am not even brave." "You are honest," Tailai said, tilting her head slightly. "And honesty is not weakness. It is rare. My people value it." She paused, then added, "I did not choose this bond either. Yet it is ours now. The clan will hear of it. They will judge you, question you, perhaps even test you. But no matter what, the path cannot be broken." Ryan took a step back, his heart beating faster. He had lived a simple life, fixing machines and cleaning tools. The thought of being judged by alien warriors, of being tied to one of their traditions, felt unreal. What if I refuse, he asked. What if I say it was only a mistake? Her golden eyes grew sharper again. Then the dishonor would be mine. I would be seen as weak for allowing it. And you would be seen as one who breaks bonds. My clan does not forgive such things easily. Ryan swallowed hard. He did not want harm to come to her, especially not because of something he had done without knowing. Yet he also did not know if he was strong enough to face what she described. Talai stepped closer until she stood only a short distance away. Her voice softened, almost like a whisper carried on steel. Ryan, you must not see this only as punishment. It can also be a path. My people believe bonds formed by fate are stronger than those chosen by will. Perhaps there is a reason this happened. He looked at her and saw not only the fierce warrior but also the weight she carried. Her armor might have been heavy metal, but the traditions on her shoulders were far heavier. For the first time, Ryan realized she was not angry with him. She was bound to him as much as he was to her. I do not know if I am worthy, Ryan admitted quietly. Her golden eyes did not waver. That is for you to prove. And for me to see. The silence stretched between them, filled only by the distant hum of the station. Stars outside shone like silent witnesses. Ryan felt his life tilting towards something unknown, something greater than he had ever imagined. And though he was afraid, he also knew there was no turning back. The station's days passed with the same routines, but for Ryan, nothing felt the same. He still worked in the repair bay, fixing broken panels and cleaning machines, but his thoughts were heavy. Every time he picked up a tool, he heard Talai's words again. A vow. A bond. Shared honor and fate. He wanted to believe it was just a misunderstanding, yet he could not forget the look in her golden eyes. She had not been joking, and her voice had carried the weight of centuries. One evening, when most workers had left, Talai appeared again at the bay. She wore her armor, but this time her helmet was off, and her braid hung loose across her shoulder. She walked to him quietly, and Ryan felt his heart race even before she spoke. You still doubt my words, she said simply. Ryan put down the welding tool he was holding. I am trying to understand. Where I come from, cleaning armor is just cleaning. But you speak of it like a sacred act. I do not know how to carry something so big when I did not choose it. Talai studied him for a moment, then nodded. Then you will hear the truth from me. Not just words, but the story of my people. She sat on a crate, and Ryan stood nearby, listening carefully. Long ago, when the Arath were only tribes on our world, battles were endless. Armor was more than protection. It was a mark of survival. Each dent and scar told a story of victory or loss. When a warrior fell, their armor was given to their child or to the one who swore to stand in their place. To clean that armor was not a simple act. It was a promise to continue the fight. It was a vow to carry their spirit forward. Her voice grew stronger as she spoke. Over time, the tradition became law. No outsider was allowed near the armor, for only blood and oath could bind it. But sometimes, fate brought strangers into the tribes. A wanderer, a healer, or even an enemy saved a warrior's life. When such a person washed the armor, it was seen as the will of destiny. The warrior and the outsider became bound, their fates joined. If one stood, so did the other. If one fell, both bore the weight. Ryan felt a chill as her words sank in. He had never heard of such a custom. For him, armor was metal, tools, and screws. For her, it was history, memory, and soul. So when I cleaned your armor, Ryan said slowly, your people would see it as me saying I would fight beside you forever. Yes, Talai said firmly. And not only fight. It means you share my honor. If I am shamed, you are shamed. If I rise in glory, you rise as well. Our lives are tied until the bond is broken by death. That is why I asked if you understood. To you it was kindness. To me it was binding. Ryan sat down on another crate, running a hand over his face. The weight of it all pressed on him. He thought of his quiet life before this, the days of small tasks and no great risks. Now, because of one mistake, he was linked to a warrior from another world. I am not ready for this, he admitted. I do not know if I can be what your people expect. Tailai's gaze softened. You think I was ready when I first wore this armor? I was not. I was younger than you, and my hands shook when I lifted the blade. But my clan stood beside me. I grew because I had no choice. You will grow too, if you accept this path. He looked at her in silence. She spoke with calm strength, and though he feared her words, a part of him admired the courage she carried. What happens now? Ryan asked finally. Tailai stood and faced him. Now we must prepare. My clan will not ignore this bond. They will test you. They will ask if you are worthy to stand beside me. And if you fail, it will not be only your shame, but mine as well. Ryan's chest tightened. The thought of standing before alien warriors, judged by their eyes, made him nervous. But he also knew that running away would hurt Tailai, and that thought was worse. I do not want to bring shame to you, he said quietly. Tell me what I must do. Her golden eyes held his, steady and strong. You must walk beside me. You must face the trial they give you. I cannot promise it will be easy, but I will not let you stand alone. For the first time since the accident, Ryan felt a spark of determination. He had not asked for this bond, but now it was part of him. He could not change the past, but maybe he could shape what came next. He nodded slowly. Then I will try. A faint smile touched Tailai's lips, quick and rare, but enough to show respect. That is all I ask. You will learn. You will see. And perhaps my people will learn something from you as well. The two stood in silence, the hum of the station filling the air. Outside, the stars continued their endless watch. Ryan felt small beneath them, yet also strangely larger than he had ever been. For the first time, he understood. Washing her armor had not only cleaned metal. It had written his name into her story. And her story was now his own. The news spread faster than Ryan expected. He thought maybe only Tailai and a few close soldiers would know about the bond, but within days whispers followed him through the station. Workers glanced at him differently. Some gave him space as if he carried danger. Others smirked and muttered about the human who had touched the warrior's sacred armor. Ryan tried to ignore it, but the unease grew heavier each day. He kept to his work, fixing damaged panels and oiling old machines, but in his heart he knew something was coming. Tailai had warned him. Her clan would not stay silent. The moment arrived sooner than he wished. One evening, as Ryan was leaving the repair bay, a group of armored figures blocked the hallway. Their cloaks of deep blue and silver marked them as Arath warriors. At the front stood a tall figure with sharp features and the same golden eyes as Tailai. His armor was decorated with old scars, and his voice carried the weight of command. You are the human called Ryan, the man said firmly. Ryan straightened. Yes, I am Corin, brother of Tailai. She tells us you touched her armor. She tells us you washed it with your own hands. Do you deny this? Ryan swallowed. No. It is true. I did it, but I did not know what it meant. The warriors exchanged murmurs. Corin's eyes narrowed. Ignorance does not excuse dishonor. Among the Arath, such an act is binding. You have tied yourself to my sister's fate. Do you think you are worthy of such a bond? Ryan's heart pounded, but he forced himself to stand tall. I did not choose it, but I will not run from it either. If it matters so much to her and to your people, then I will try to prove myself. Corin stepped closer, towering over him. His gaze was sharp as a blade. Words are air. The clan will not trust you for what you say. You must show us through action. If you fail, the shame will not fall on you alone. It will fall on my sister as well. Do you understand? I understand, Ryan said quietly. At that moment Talai appeared at the end of the hall. She walked quickly to stand beside Ryan, her armor gleaming under the lights. She looked at her brother, her expression firm. "Do not test him with malice, Corin. If there is a trial, it must be fair." Corin's eyes softened slightly at his sister's words, but his voice stayed hard. "Fair, yes. But it will not be easy. If he is to carry your honor, he must prove himself in the field." He turned back to Ryan. "Tomorrow, you will join us on the surface of the moon near the station. Old war machines roam there, left from battles long past. They are dangerous, but not beyond defeat. You will walk with us, and we will see if you can stand as more than a worker with tools." Ryan felt a cold weight drop into his stomach. The thought of facing dangerous machines terrified him, but he saw Talai's steady gaze and forced himself to nod. "I will go." Corin studied him for a moment, then gave a sharp nod. "Very well. Tomorrow at first light. Do not run, human. If you do, you will bring ruin on yourself and on Talai." With that, the warriors turned and left, their cloaks sweeping behind them. The hallway felt heavier after they were gone. Ryan let out a breath he had been holding and looked at Talai. "I am not ready for this. I fix broken panels, I clean machines. I am not someone who fights." Talai placed a hand on his shoulder, firm and grounding. "Courage is not the absence of fear, Ryan. It is walking forward even when fear burns inside you. You may not fight as we do, but you have your own strength. I saw it when you worked on the armor. You use patience, detail, and care. Those are not small things. Tomorrow," remember that her words steadied him, but doubt still clouded his mind. That night, as he lay on his bunk, he could not sleep. He kept imagining metal beasts on the moon, claws tearing, weapons firing, and himself standing helpless in their shadow. But then he also imagined Talai, proud and unshaken, looking at him with trust. The thought gave him a strange kind of strength. Perhaps he could not fight like her clan, but he could not bear to see her fall because of him. When the first light of the station's artificial dawn filled the halls, Ryan rose, washed his face, and put on the simple gear Talai had given him. It was not armor like hers, only light protection and a small energy blade at his side, but it felt heavier than anything he had ever worn. At the docking bay, the Arath warriors were already waiting, their armor shining with battle readiness. Corin stood at the front, watching him with sharp eyes. Talai was there too, her presence strong beside him. "You came," Corin said, his voice unreadable. "I said I would," Ryan replied. Corin nodded once, then signaled to the others. "Then let us see if fate truly binds you, or if you are only a mistake." The group stepped onto the transport craft. As the engines roared to life and the ship lifted toward the barren moon, Ryan's hands tightened on the seat straps. Fear rose in him like a storm, but beneath it was something else. Determination. Whatever waited on that moon, he would face it. Not for glory. Not for himself. But because he had washed the armor, and because now, somehow, his honor was tied to Talai's. The transport craft cut through the silence of space, carrying Ryan, Talai, and the Arath warriors toward the barren moon. Through the small window, Ryan saw the gray surface growing larger, covered in broken craters and scattered wreckage. Old battles had left the land scarred, with twisted metal and burned ground stretching as far as the eye could see. His hands tightened on the seat strap. The stories about the moon were clear. Long ago, armies had clashed there, leaving behind machines built for war. Some still roamed, broken yet dangerous, moving without masters, attacking anything that entered their territory. When the craft landed, dust rose in thick clouds. The warriors stepped out first, their cloaks flowing and their silver armor shining in the pale light. Talai walked with calm strength, her steps steady. Ryan followed behind, his heart heavy but his mind alert. His gear felt too light compared to the massive weapons of the Arath, but he reminded himself of Talai's words. Courage was not the absence of fear. Corin raised a hand, pointing toward the horizon. We move east. Scouts reported movement there. If you are to prove yourself, human, keep pace and do not falter. The group advanced across the rocky ground. Every step echoed in Ryan's chest. He watched the warriors walk with confidence, their eyes sharp, their weapons ready. He tried to match their pace, though his legs felt heavy. After an hour, they reached a ridge. Corin signaled for silence. Ryan crouched with the others and peered over the rocks. Below them, in a wide crater, a machine moved slowly. It was taller than any human, with 4 legs like blades and a torso of rusted steel. Sparks flickered from its joints, but its glowing red eye still scanned the land with deadly purpose. The warriors shifted their weapons, preparing to strike, but Corin held up his hand. This will be the trial. We will watch how you act, human. Do not run. Do not hide. Show us what strength you carry. Ryan's stomach twisted. He had no great weapon, only a small energy blade and a pack of tools. The thought of standing against the metal beast made his breath quicken, but then he noticed something. The machine's movement was uneven. Its front left leg dragged, sparks bursting at every step. Its balance was broken. An idea formed in his mind. Wait, he whispered. If we attack it head-on, it will crush us with its weight. But its leg is weak. If we strike there, it will fall, and then we can finish it without risk. The warriors turned to him with mixed expressions. Some sneered, others frowned, but Talai's eyes shone with interest. Corin's gaze narrowed. You see weakness where we see prey. Are you certain of this? Ryan nodded quickly. Machines are not beasts. They break like tools. And tools always show where they are weakest. For a moment, silence hung in the air. Then Talai stepped forward. I will test his words. Cover me. Before Corin could protest, she leapt down the ridge. Her silver armor glimmered as she charged toward the machine. It turned, its red eye glowing brighter, claws rising to strike. Ryan's breath caught, but Talai moved with skill, sliding under its massive limb and striking the weakened leg with her blade. Sparks burst, and the machine staggered. Now, Ryan shouted without thinking. Hit the joints. Bring it down. The warriors responded with speed. Blades and energy bolts struck the machine's weak points. With a roar of grinding metal, it collapsed into the dust, its red eye fading to darkness. The crater fell silent except for the sound of Ryan's racing heartbeat. He scrambled down the ridge to where Talai stood, breathing hard but unharmed. She looked at him with a faint smile. You were right. The weakness was real. The other warriors gathered around, some still doubtful, others whispering in low voices. Corin stood at the edge, his golden eyes locked on Ryan. You did not fight with strength, Corin said at last. But you used sight. You used thought. That is not the Arath way, yet it worked. Ryan swallowed, unsure if it was praise or insult. I only did what I know. Machines break. You just have to see where Talai placed a hand on his shoulder. And that is a strength in itself. Our blades cut, but without your eyes, we might have faced far greater risk. You saved us time and blood. The warriors fell silent at her words. Ryan felt their stares pressing into him, but this time there was less scorn and more curiosity. Corin finally spoke again, his voice steady. One trial does not prove worth. But today, you did not run. You did not hide. Perhaps there is more to you than we thought. We will see in time. With that, he turned and signaled the group to move on. The warriors followed, leaving the broken machine smoking in the crater. Ryan walked beside Talai, his steps steadier than before. Fear still lived in his chest, but something else had taken root too. A quiet pride. He had not fought with strength like the Arath, but he had found another way. And for the first time, he felt he might not only survive this bond but also grow into it. Above them, the stars watched in silence, and the grey moon stretched endlessly before them. The trial was far from over, but Ryan had taken his first step into the path of a warrior, not by blade, but by the mind of a human. The dust of the crater still hung in the air when the group of Arath warriors continued across the barren moon. Ryan walked carefully, his small energy blade ready in his hand, though he knew it could do little against the full power of the machines they might face. Talai was beside him, her silver armor gleaming under the pale light, her eyes scanning every shadow. Ryan kept his mind focused on what had happened in the previous trial. He had survived, and the warriors had seen his cleverness. Yet he knew one success did not mean they would trust him completely. The bond with Talai carried expectations, and the clan was still watching. Hours later, as they crossed a narrow canyon, a sudden sound froze them all. A low grinding, metallic roar echoed from above. Ryan instinctively ducked behind a rock, his heart hammering. "Stay alert," Talai whispered. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp. Before he could respond, a group of machines dropped from the cliff above. They moved faster than he had expected, their red eyes flashing, claws raised. The warriors reacted immediately, leaping into action, blades flashing and energy weapons firing. Ryan froze for a moment, unsure where to go. One of the machines lunged directly at Talai. Ryan's eyes widened as he saw her dodge, only barely avoiding the crushing metal. She spun, her blade cutting through a claw, but she lost her balance and stumbled toward the edge of a small cliff. Time slowed for Ryan. Every instinct screamed to act, and he ran toward her. He had no chance to strike the machine with his weak blade, but he could use the environment. He grabbed a large rock and hurled it at the machine's eye. Sparks flew, and the machine staggered. Talai regained her footing, but the creature was still dangerous. Ryan's mind raced. He noticed a pile of broken metal nearby, scraps from the old battles. He pulled a long piece of twisted metal and jammed it into a joint on the machine. With a loud grinding noise, the limb collapsed, and the machine fell heavily to the ground. The remaining machines hesitated, giving the warriors time to regroup. Talai stood, breathing hard but smiling faintly at him. "You saved me," she said, almost in surprise. "I did not expect it." Ryan felt a strange warmth at her words. "I could not let you fall," he replied quietly. "Not after everything. We are tied by the armor, remember." The other warriors watched silently, their expressions hard to read. Corin stepped forward, examining Ryan closely. "You think quickly under pressure," he said at last. "You do not fight with strength like the Arath, yet you protect when it matters most. That is unusual, but it works." Ryan nodded, feeling a mixture of relief and pride. "I only use what I know. I cannot fight like you, but I can think." Talai placed a hand on his shoulder, steadying him. "Your way is different, Ryan. That does not make it weaker. Perhaps it is what our clan needs to see another way to survive." The warriors murmured among themselves. Even Corin seemed less harsh. He gave a single nod, an acknowledgement that Ryan had earned something that mere words could not give. As they continued across the moon, Ryan stayed close to Talai. She moved with purpose, scanning for danger, but she did not speak much. The bond between them had changed. He was no longer just a human who had accidentally washed armor. He was someone who could think, someone who could act when life hung in the balance. Hours passed, and the terrain grew rougher. Craters deepened, and jagged rocks made each step dangerous. The Arath warriors moved confidently, their experience evident in every step. Ryan stumbled once or twice, but each time he remembered Talai's words, "Courage is not absence of fear, it is moving forward anyway." Finally, they reached a plateau overlooking the remains of a crashed transport ship from centuries ago. Its metal twisted and blackened, but strange energy still flowed faintly from some parts. Talai stopped and motioned for the group to rest. Ryan sat on a rock, exhausted but alert. Talai crouched nearby, checking her equipment. She glanced at him and smiled faintly. Today, you proved more than cleverness. You proved courage. My clan will take notice. Ryan felt a swell of emotion. I only did what I thought was right. I did not think about honor or bonds. I just acted. That is enough, Talai said firmly. Actions speak louder than words. The Arath respect that. You have earned a place beside me, at least for now. Korin approached, his face serious but not hostile. Remember, human, this is only the beginning. The trials will continue. But today, you did not fail. That is a start. Ryan nodded, understanding that the path ahead would not be easy. But for the first time, he felt a sense of belonging. He was no longer an outsider. He was part of something larger, bound by honor and trust. As the sun of the alien moon set behind jagged cliffs, casting long shadows over the plateau, Ryan looked at Talai and felt a quiet determination grow inside him. The bond had begun with a simple mistake, but now it had become a path he could walk with purpose. Whatever trials awaited, he would face them. Not for glory, not for praise, but because he had promised, silently, to stand beside her. The journey back to the station felt quieter than the trip to the moon. Ryan walked beside Talai, their steps in rhythm, yet the silence was not uncomfortable. Both of them had faced danger together, and both had changed. The bond formed by a single act of cleaning armor had grown into something deeper, something neither of them could deny. Ryan could feel it in the way Talai moved. She no longer treated him like a stranger. She moved with the quiet trust of someone who knew he would act when it mattered. He, in turn, felt responsible for her safety, more than he had ever felt for anything in his life. When they arrived at the station, the Arath warriors were already gathered in the main hall. Their expressions were unreadable as they watched Ryan and Talai approach. Korin stepped forward, his tall frame casting a long shadow under the bright lights. Human, Korin said, his voice firm, you have returned. Tell me, do you still understand what it means to touch the armor of my sister? Ryan nodded slowly, feeling the weight of the words. I understand now. I did not at first, but I do. I know it binds me to her honor, and to her people. I will not break that bond. Korin's eyes narrowed, then softened. Good. It is rare for a human to carry such understanding. Many would flee, many would deny it. You have proven yourself, not by strength, but by courage, thought, and loyalty. The other warriors exchanged quiet murmurs. Ryan could feel their judgment, but this time it was not harsh. It was measured. Respectful. Talai stepped forward, her golden eyes meeting Ryan's. Do you still fear this bond? Ryan shook his head. No, I am still afraid of the trials ahead, but I am not afraid of this. I accept it, and I will honor it. Talai's lips curved into a faint smile, the first real smile he had seen from her outside of battle. Then we are ready. Together Korin studied them both for a moment, then nodded to the assembled warriors. Let it be known, the human Ryan has proven himself worthy to stand beside the warrior Talai. He may not fight like the Arath, but his courage and wisdom make him part of this clan. From this day, his honor is tied to hers, and her honor is tied to his. A quiet murmur ran through the hall. The warriors stepped aside, giving Ryan space. He could feel their eyes on him, and for the first time, he did not feel fear. He felt pride, the steady warmth of acceptance. Talai reached out and placed her hand on his arm. The bond is not just words. It is action. You will stand with me in every trial, and I will stand with you. Together, we will face what comes. Ryan met her gaze and nodded. Together for a moment, the hall seemed still, as if the station itself paused to witness the union. Ryan thought of how small his life had been before. Fixing tools, cleaning panels, moving quietly through the world. Now he was part of something far greater. He was bound to a warrior, a clan, and a destiny he could not have imagined. Corin stepped closer, placing a hand on Ryan's shoulder. Do not think that this makes your life easy. The Arath way is not simple. Trials will come. Danger will come. But today, you have earned respect. That is the first step. I will not fail, Ryan said quietly, and he meant it. Talai smiled again, a little more openly this time. No one expects perfection. Only effort, courage, and loyalty. You have shown all three. The warriors began to disperse, leaving Ryan and Talai alone in the hall. The station was quiet now, the echoes of metal footsteps fading. Ryan looked at Talai, the silver armor shining under the lights, and realized he had come to care for her more than he could have imagined. Not just for her strength, but for her trust, her wisdom, and the way she carried her world with honor. I never thought a mistake could lead to something like this, Ryan said softly. Talai laughed, a soft sound that felt like sunlight after a storm. Sometimes mistakes are not mistakes at all. Sometimes they are the beginning of something greater. Ryan nodded, feeling the truth in her words. The bond had started with a single act of cleaning, an accident that could have been ignored or punished. Instead, it had grown into a connection that would define both their lives. As they walked toward the observation deck, Ryan looked out at the stars. Endless and bright, they stretched across the galaxy, silent witnesses to the lives below. He thought of the battles he might face, the challenges ahead, and the machines on the moon that had tested him. He thought of the Arath clan, their honor, and the trust they had placed in him. And for the first time, he did not feel small in the universe. He felt part of it. Stronger, braver, and ready to face whatever came. Talai walked beside him, her hand brushing his briefly, a silent promise. Ryan met her gaze and nodded. Together, they would face the future. Together, their bond would guide them through every trial. The station lights glimmered around them, and the stars beyond seemed to shine just a little brighter. A human and an alien warrior, bound by honor, fate, and trust. The new bond was complete.